Welcome to the Straight to Jail podcast, written and produced by Brian Herring. Chapter 7, A Dangerous Alliance. The door slammed shut behind Kyle, leaving Johnny alone in the soft hum of silence. He sat on the edge of the bed, the Glock still in his hand, staring at the faint smoke trail curling up from where Kyle's cigarette had hit the glass. He exhaled sharply and ran a hand through his hair, trying to settle the churning thoughts in his head. Kyle is a problem. He always has been. But maybe he's also the solution. Johnny paced the length of his small bedroom. If Kyle's memory stayed foggy, this whole thing could blow over. But it hadn't blown over yet. Kyle wanted revenge, and for once, Johnny wasn't holding the cards. Kyle's desire to take down whoever did this to him wasn't just a personal crusade, it was dangerous. Dangerous because Johnny knew exactly who was responsible. Johnny's own men. He sat back on the bed and stared at his reflection in the mirror. He'd spent years building his double life, wearing the mask of the hard-working cop while orchestrating his empire in the shadows. Kyle was reckless, sure, but he had the kind of blind loyalty Johnny could exploit. If Johnny didn't get ahead of this, Kyle would dig too deep and drag Johnny's operation into the light. The way Johnny saw it, there were only two options: kill Kyle or help him. The second option didn't sound so bad. There were too many loose ends. People who knew too much. Too many traces back to Johnny. The next day, Johnny found Kyle exactly where he expected him, at the local dive bar, slouched in a booth surrounded by beer bottles. A half-empty ashtray sat next to him, smoke lingering in the air like a haze of bad decisions. Johnny slid into the booth across from him. Kyle didn't look up, his sunglasses hanging low on his nose as he nursed his drink.
Rough night?
Johnny asked, his tone light.
Every night's a rough night when you've got a bullet hole in your gut,
Kyle muttered. Johnny signaled the waitress for coffee and leaned forward, lowering his voice.
You need to talk.
Kyle tilted his head slightly, his expression unreadable.
About what? You finally here to put a bullet in me, Johnny boy. I've been waiting for it.
Johnny smirked.
If I wanted you dead, you'd already be 6 feet under.
He let that sink in a moment before continuing.
I think it's time we go after the people who did this to you.
Kyle's expression shifted. A flash of surprise, followed by suspicion.
You serious? Why now? What have you been waiting for?
Because I'm sick of sitting around while those assholes walk free. And maybe you're right. I've got blood on my hands. I need this as much as you do.
Johnny said, his voice firm but measured.
You want revenge, Kyle? I can help you get it, but you've got to trust me.
Kyle's lips twisted into a smirk.
Trust you? That's rich, Johnny. Real rich.
He took a long sip of his drink and set it down.
I don't exactly have a long list of friends these days. So yeah, I'll bite. What's the plan?
Johnny leaned closer, keeping his voice low.
We start with the mole, Tony. You added him to the feds, but I guarantee he didn't spill everything. He knows something about what happened to you. We'd squeeze him until he gives us names, locations.
Whatever we need to move up the chain.
Kyle cocked an eyebrow.
And how exactly do we find Tony? He's probably in hiding.
You let me worry about that. You just need to be ready when the time comes.
Kyle leaned back in the booth, studying Johnny for a long moment.
Fine. But if you screw me over, Johnny, I swear to God I'll take you down with me.
Johnny nodded.
Fair enough.
That night, Johnny made a call to one of his trusted lieutenants, a man named Rico, a rat-faced weasel with a penchant for sniffing out trouble. Rico was loyal because Johnny paid him well, but Johnny knew that loyalty could be bought just as easily by someone else.
Rico.
Johnny said, his voice sharp through the phone.
I need you to find Tony. I don't care where he's hiding. You bring him to me, and you do it quietly. Understand?
Rico hesitated on the other end.
Sure, Johnny. But what's this about Tony? I thought he was done for.
He's not done until I say he's done.
Johnny snapped.
Just find him.
A few nights later, Johnny and Kyle sat in an unmarked car parked outside a rundown warehouse on the edge of town. The building was dark, its windows shattered and its walls covered in graffiti. Inside, Johnny's men had dragged Tony out of hiding and were holding him for Johnny's arrival.
So this is it?
Kyle asked, eyeing the warehouse warily.
This is it.
Johnny replied. He checked his Glock, making sure it was loaded.
You ready?
Kyle grinned, his hand shaking slightly as he reached for his own weapon.
I've been ready since the day they left me for dead.
Johnny glanced at him, trying to ignore the pit forming in his stomach. He had a bad feeling about this, but there was no turning back now. The two of them stepped out of the car, their boots crunching against gravel as they approached the warehouse. Johnny pushed open the heavy door, the sound of its rusty hinges echoing through the empty space. Inside, Rico stood near a broken-down chair where Tony sat, bloodied and tied up. Tony's head lolled to the side, but he looked up as Johnny and Kyle approached. Tony was African-American, his face bruised but defiant, and his voice carried a rough edge laced with slang.
Johnny, what's this shit, man? You dragged me all the way out here looking like some busted piñata? For what?
Johnny didn't answer. He stopped a few feet away, his expression cold.
Tony, you know why we're here. You're going to tell us everything about what happened to Kyle.
Tony shifted in the chair, his swollen eyes narrowing.
Man, I don't know nothing about that. I ain't nobody's rat.
Y'all tripping if you think I'm snitching.
Kyle stepped forward, his voice low and menacing.
Don't lie to me, Tony. You were part of it. You know who did this? Give me a name, or I'll paint these walls with your brains.
Tony's lips trembled slightly, his bravado wavering.
Why, you talk big, white boy, but you ain't gonna do shit. I got people, too. You start pulling that trigger, y'all are both dead men walking.
Johnny watched silently, letting the tension build. He needed Tony to talk and fast. The clock was ticking, and the deeper they dug, the more dangerous this alliance would become. But for now, Johnny didn't care. For now, Kyle was his problem and his weapon.